Well, welcome to today's ITAM Kitchen, the place where we cook up lots of things and we try to figure out what the recipe is to success, right? Well, let me change the screen here for a second. We're going to do something a little different. I think that screen's supposed to work. There we go. We're doing a workshop. With this workshop, we're going to leverage a smartboard as we do this. Because today's topic, and just confirm, everybody can hear me, right? I'm coming through. No problem.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Hey, it's a new setup. Sometimes you never know what you're going to do. And I have a 70-inch whiteboard right behind me. We're going to use this to workshop. And we're going to workshop how we overcome diversity, not diversity, more discouragement. And why discouragement sounds so negative, right? Well, discouragement is what we deal with all the time. We deal with challenges. We've talked about our roles, trying to find a job, trying to work on what we do day to day. We get discouraged whatever we do, right? That's our life is to figure out how to manage discouragement. I also call it adversity, because this is the ability to be able to grow and thrive and how we put this, how we work through it. It could be looking for a job, maybe talking about a stakeholder. It could talk about, okay, how do I work for this new boss? We all have our challenges in different ways. How can we further refine our role? How can we advance? And I say this to be constructive. Everything we're talking about is being constructive, how we grow. And I'm going live. Literally, we've got a LinkedIn right now. If you're on LinkedIn, please put yourself in the chat. I'm going to do my best to see that as I put it through a brand new studio. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but we're going to have fun no matter what. And we're going to keep each other on time. So a few guests I have here, you've seen them before. I have Deanna and Rob joining us both today. May have a couple others. That's great if they do, because this is a very hot topic. And I look at this because if we think about the topics we've been discussing over the last couple of weeks, right? AMDB versus CMDB. We talk about job descriptions. We talk about trying to find the next role and defining our roles, et cetera. And we're going to continue that discussion as far as defining the roles tomorrow. We'll actually go through a job description and refine that. But on Friday, we're even going to talk about how our journeys have evolved for each one of us. For everybody, we're going to have a whole slew of folks there. But today we're dealing with adversity, and so I use the word again, discouragement. It's like, why negative? Well, it's because we can actually turn that negative into a positive, and that's what I want us to focus on. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to change to a different setup. But I can do that live as we're right here, so we're good to go. But as we kick this off. Deanna, any initial thoughts that come to mind with some of this topic? Because this is something new for us, and we didn't have any time really to prep. We're kind of jumping right into this one.
Well, I kind of like it because discouragement is basically how we fix the problems. If everything was running hunky-dory, we wouldn't have jobs. And it's because they don't work as well as they should, we have jobs. So we're really used to working through discouragement.
Absolutely. Rob, any thoughts?
Oh, yeah, there are, especially nowadays. With job seeking, not hearing back from you folks can be discouraging. There are tactics to deal with those feelings. And then another thing to watch for instance, are email responses, for instance, that we're all really, we want to get there. But it's one of those things where it looks like a positive up front, but it may turn out to just simply not serve you well. I just recently received one of those, and we'll talk about that a little later on.
Absolutely. So I'm going to double check. Do you guys hear any squealing in the background, or are you guys good?
Yeah, we can hear the squealing.
Okay, wouldn't be having to come from a black lab, would it?
No, probably.
Oh, might be. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure, because we all get discouraged in all sorts of discussions. Yeah. My rescue is in the other room trying to get outside as we're going live here. So we all have our different challenges. It's not to discourage us whatsoever. But let's think about something may have happened recently, as far as we've been talking about job searches, and say, okay, we're in the last couple months, or we've been laid off, right? We've been laid off. We're released from our roles. And we can take it as discouraging, right, on that front. say, but let's write down some of the things that come to mind when something like this happens, and I'll just take notes as we go. Again, that's the whole idea behind the whiteboard. How can we work through this? So, anything comes to mind immediately? Deanna,
Loss.
Rob.
Go ahead, Rob. You got lots.
Yeah, loss.
What's that?
Loss is the first thing that comes to mind, and it'll be something that you want to deal with.
Okay.
No, not boss, loss. L-O.
L-O.
Oh, loss.
You can see where he's thinking.
We lost the boss. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
One of the advantages. Okay. Do we have somebody else join us? Hold on one second. Who we have?
Oh,
Okay, let me get Don on here too.
Oh, good.
Okay, so let's look at this. And let's figure this out. Delete. Okay, loss.
Got it.
Misunderstandings.
Yeah,
What's that?
Misunderstandings.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm
Give you a
here.
shorter word next time.
Yeah, we see you there, Don. Awesome.
Yeah.
We're going through some of the when we work through discouragement. In this case, the job loss. What comes to mind? Right now, we have loss and misunderstanding.
Well, now you have a
Anything
lot
else come
more
to
work
mind?
to do. It's almost a job to get a job nowadays.
It is.
It is.
Vertigo.
Vertigo.
Yeah, vertigo. That sense you get when all of a sudden the things that you were anchored to psychologically or in the physical world is gone. Now all of a sudden you feel adrift. So that's definitely one of those things.
Okay. I'm still here. Hold on. There we go. He said, I'm trying out a new studio and we're trying this out. So what also comes to mind for me is misalignment, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Be misalignment in the role, misalignment with individuals. It could be misalignment for where you want to advance, right? Anything else?
Technology changes that don't pass down to the workers, something like that.
Technology changes that don't get passed down to the workers.
Well, we're really just looking for discouragement in losing your job.
Discouragement.
Okay.
Don, any ideas on your side?
I think I would throw that in. I think I would throw that into the general thing of education.
Education?
Or lack of.
Like lack of education?
Probably.
Yes. Yes, education gaps.
And if you have some on chat, please feel free to chime in on the chat too. I can't read the chat. Are you able to, Rob? Okay,
I
cool.
can see things as they come in. Yeah. Know your location.
It's about a team effort. That's how
Yeah.
this works. But as we work through this, it was a great start. I'm not sure if there's anything else there in the chat yet. But these are all a great start to talk about how we're going to work through these, how to work through this little change. Because sometimes, Deanna, I think you were talking about, sometimes losing a job helps you find that next job.
Correct.
Provide that more insight where you need to go, right? And for that next up, right? For example, I'll give a great example. Sometimes you never know what's going to walk in the door. For example, I was talking about her a little bit ago. Okay, she's now live on the entire internet. This is Dana, right? So you never know. You have to have that. You need therapy, and this is the therapy talk there too. But there you go. So we have to have fun with this and go live. But when you start thinking about the loss, the misunderstanding, the vertigo, misalignment, technology changes, lack of education, I mean, it could even go all the way to salary and things like that, right? It just depends what it is. Anyway. But the whole idea is from here is how can we advance? How do we overcome this? How do we work that next step? That's kind of our that's our goal in life is at the moment is to figure out how we work through this, right?
Yes.
I'm just going to put this up here. So it's one column, but as we look through this, how do we overcome this? How do we look at saying the job loss? What immediately comes to mind?
A lot of times how I have to fix me. I didn't like the situation where I was let go. I need to address that myself. Maybe the problem was my boss, but it would also be because I didn't handle it correctly, or vice versa.
Did you say that would be lessons learned? It could be, but you know, that's path to getting from where you are to having the lessons learned. There's a process for that. And I think that's what I'd want to pull from what you're saying. Yeah.
That's great.
I would say it's how strong your value generation is. What is your value impact?
Value impact, okay.
And that's relational, by the way.
Got it. Okay, value impact.
Right.
Well, sometimes that misunderstanding, I'll say it like that, from a misalignment is maybe you're more advanced for the role than you realize.
Okay.
Right.
But I'm going to throw in one that I don't think we think about.
What?
Disruption. And the reason I'm throwing that in is sometimes things happen beyond your control.
Yep.
And it's how you react to them.
Absolutely.
And that's associated with your mindset and your belief system. How do you believe what you believe in yourself? Mindset.
Yep. Absolutely. That's so cool.
And I said that so casually, but it's so doggone hard to get your hand around that. So you have to really back off, get away from what just happened, reset yourself, and then carry an attitude of being thankful for the opportunity for you to
Gratefulness,
do
got it.
something better than yourself.
I can tell you personally, for me, that took about 3 to 3.5 weeks to get past that. The first sort of impact. Yeah.
The impact.
Yeah, absolutely. It took, like I was just saying, it took about 3.5 weeks.
And in that reaction, you want to begin to start resetting you want to go to your connections that know you, and support you, and can help you, and recommend you.
Your network. That's a good
Your
point.
network. It's a network. Your trusted network. I mean, that network has all sorts of people in it, but I'm going to my absolute people that I trust.
I would put something along that point to
And relationally.
Yeah.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, on several fronts it does. I mean, you got to think about that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And in that thankfulness, you have to learn to forgive as well. Forgiveness aspect associated with that.
I'll put forgiveness.
Somebody that I recently advised on some other matters. told them that acceptance and letting go are two of the most powerful tools that they can use with their situations.
No, you're absolutely right. And being able to work on these, it's also about being able to, for that personal development. That's really what you're working on. How do you personally develop yourself to go that next step? Because you've been forced into this situation, and maybe you've seen it coming, right? Maybe you saw it coming, maybe you didn't. Everyone's a little different. But being able to say, okay, how do you internalize this? How do you process it so you can become that better person? So as we do this, okay, job release, working through it, work through the discouragement, and we're talking about forgiveness, we have the impact that we can make, we've made, as well as what we're going to make, where we want to go in that direction, right? We're networking advisors. You should always keep your community close to you. That's very key. If it's just the ITAM Kitchen, right? Co-op, we have the same thing, right? But you're around a network of individuals and peers to say, okay, what do you need? Let's talk through this, et cetera. And it's not just the, consult and everybody has their own pity party is the best way to put it. And you should have a pity party. my coach even says, you can have a pity party for 3 days, but after 3 days, cut it off. It's time to move on. Right. But everyone has different levels of that. It's not being critical. It depends upon what that situation scenario is. But when it comes to jobs, we all get consumed. I know I've been burned out several times, right? I wouldn't say, I'd be burned out. I wasn't going to the burn part, but more burned out and just worn out. So, okay, well, maybe I didn't react correctly or something else happened behind that. How do you move that?
Right. And I want to say within the mindset, Bill, is a daily thing. Every day, your little setting as you go through the day to keep your focus on where it needs to be.
Okay. Yeah, I have a little bit audio feedback here in the room, so I apologize about that. I'm going to work on that. Absolutely.
Okay.
Sometimes you never know what you're going to walk into.
Well, and this is a situation of continuous improvement too, so that's good.
Exactly.
Being here and alive is the first best step.
All right.
Yeah.
And
I try not to go off screen, but sometimes it happens. Okay, so as we're working through this, some of the lessons learned, but we talk about the network advisors, forgiveness, impact, gratefulness. It's also going to be more learnings. We talked about the education. What kind of, how can you improve your skills? So what education, what skill improvement can you have out of this, right?
Yeah. Deanna, how have you advised other folks in these situations?
What's that?
Yeah. Me, what would I do in advising situation?
Yeah.
One of the things you have to see, honestly, where you fail, because that's where you're going to grow the most. That's the area that you take. Okay, I didn't do this right. What do I need to learn to do that better next time? And it could be biting your tongue at certain times. It could be going to school other times. It could be learning how to cooperate with someone else that you may not get along with, or your educational thought processes aren't the same. So those are the things I would be looking at.
And you surrender that and get back on your focus.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you also, through this, you may learn that you really didn't want to do that part of the job, and you're going to now focus on another part of the job in your next role.
Yeah. And for me personally, if I get on a conversation with, or a meeting that I'm having with one of my contacts, I've got to force myself to learn to listen. And I had a good contact yesterday, and after it was all over with, I said, Don, you need to listen more and truly listen so that you can respond, and that helps you make those corrections that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
always have a dog on site help.
yes.
You always have these unexpected moments, and this is one of them. It's all good. But to your point, you do have to review your learnings, right? And you have to review, and even though he says a failure, and I had that happen one time. I was doing public speaking, and I had a big sales event I was presented, and I found out that I'm an impromptu speaker. I'm not a scripted speaker. It's just not me. And I literally got fired because I did a script and I froze in front of the sales team. And I got fired like the next week. Well, you just don't do your job. Well, it was actually the best thing ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Because from that, I figured out what my real skills are. And reading scripts is not me. It's just totally not me, right? I'm very much impromptu, and I can work through that on several fronts. But scripted is not me. It was my boss who fired me. It was her. That's all she ever did. She hated impromptu speaking. For me, I adjust to whatever my environment is. That's what's helped me be more successful, right? So sometimes, even though, I was devastated when it happened because, I was burned out, et cetera. It didn't help. But when I figured out what my real strengths were, it's like, oh my gosh, I was looking at the wrong thing. Totally wrong thing, right? And it allowed me to say, I can do more, even like what I'm doing right here. How many people can do stuff like this, right? And I don't say statistically. Lots of different changes you go through. There you go. That's life, right?
Yeah.
It's all impromptu.
And Bill, I'm going to say something. Failure is such a negative word. So how do we turn that around? Well, for me, I turn it around by saying failure is a masked opportunity.
Yeah, that's it.
That's great.
Okay, and you got to start thinking in that vein. Take every negative and turn it around to a positive way to express it that helps you move. The goal is to move forward, continually move forward in what you're trying to do, not take a step back.
Is the word for the technique reframing?
It could be reframing. It could be just level setting. You may have.
Well, it's also where, to your point, as a society, so I'll add into that a little bit. You're right. Failure is determined, they consider negative. For me, failure is a success.
Well, exactly.
That means I did my best.
Yeah.
It didn't work out right. Now I try another avenue to move forward. And that's what most of us struggle through, right? Don, you're absolutely right. We consider, as a society, we consider extremely negative. But the reality is, we have to fail. If I didn't fail, I wouldn't be able to do this right now. There's no way, right?
Well,
wouldn't have not have met any of you, right, from that standpoint, from our career perspective, or even here on from the ITAM Kitchen, right? Because of those failures, or even I can say some of the struggles I'm having here in the room. You can consider those failures you want to. Learning opportunities, how you can further improve, right?
Tuning,
be lighting, etc. But when you look at it, it is important to say, okay, let's how can we, I wouldn't say spin it, but how can we help grow from it? Because it's all about that growth opportunity. And that's a good point right there, is growth. Because you look at all this, impact, network, forgiveness, room improvement, gratefulness, this is growth.
Yeah, there are opportunities for growth. Yeah.
Well, and why did I do whatever happened that caused that disruption or caused that failure or loss? There's something that I needed to learn from that. And so I looked forward to it with that opportunity, with that awareness. That's where the thankfulness comes in, because it's really a blessing. If you want to use that, I like to use that word. It's really a blessing because it's made me look down and see I have something I need to resurrender and let go of in my life, whether that's a reminder of anger issue, a reminder of a control issue, or a reminder of some things like that run that negative side of what keeps you from moving forward. So we have to learn to surrender those and put them aside and turn around back to where we focus and what we believe in. Boy, that's a long time, but I know that's something you have to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, and keep in mind, we are all currently we all struggle with this. Each one of us, right now, right live. We're all looking at this from this exact scenario is actually happening to us, right?
Well,
and being able to say, okay,
yeah.
how do we work through it, right? But this is also where we find a community, right? We found the ability to say, and not just express ourselves, but how do we grow? We're here live, we're speaking, we're presenting, right? And have that ability to say, okay, so what? It's going to hit us a little bit. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, you know what? It's not going to stop us. We're going to learn something new and continue growing. And that's extremely, extremely important for all of us. And we're right here. So is there anything coming through on the chat?
Opportunity for priority realignment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doubt management. Those are for Patrick Duffy.
That plays into the misunderstanding and the alignment points from the first staff.
Well, while Bill's adjusting, guys, I'll be transparent here for a moment. What I just talked about, I'm going through a really rough situation with that right now in my own life, and so I have to do what I just told you guys I have to do. And sometimes that's an hourly thing because you get thrown things all day long.
Yeah,
certain times, and so you have
exactly.
You have to do the work, and you have to stick to what you believe and what you know you need to do, and that comes from the education and the learning and what you look at as your true source of truth, not what somebody thinks is true. What do you believe and how do you believe it, and then double set that. Because you might be wrong, and you might need to have a redirection in your life.
That's one of those places. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Deanna.
I was just going to say that sometimes the hardest thing at a job is, although you can't talk about that, you can't open that can of worms. You know what? Let's open a can of worms to go fishing. You have to find out what their pain point is, even the one they don't want to admit to you. How are you going to get forward?
And in my relationships with people, I've had guys, and myself included, sometimes you're walking along, you're doing this, and all of a sudden you get this awareness and saying, your mind wakes up and says, what am I doing? That's a very good thing, because then you get yourself back on track. And in my case, then I go and ask forgiveness to my source of truth, and I move forward.
You have to be brutally honest at some times too with yourself, and willing to consider things that you otherwise wouldn't have accepted, especially as new information is appraised. That reflecting on your view of things is also important and difficult. It takes some self-discipline and some acceptance.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I think that's a great point. Is having that direct feedback is extremely important to us, right? Because feedback is a gift.
Yes.
Feedback.
Right.
I'm going to call out my friend David Liebau, which most of you guys know who that is on this call. Bill certainly does. David and I have had a relationship of well over 30 years, almost 40 years, to be honest with you. And we can level set, and he's a good level setter back to me. And we'll bounce these things off of each other. So you go to the people who you know and trust, and I have 2 or 3 other guys like that. They're not afraid to say, Don, you're doing this again or that again. Level set your mind and get back to where you're supposed to be. get yourself back on solid ground and go forward.
Well, sometimes we have to have that shock to our system, right?
Yes.
I'll just put it that way. That shock is all of a sudden it's enlightening. It's like kind of like what I was talking about. I went through that one scenario. But I will say this last time when it happened to me, happened back in August. I literally got that 15-minute HR discussion. Right, we all been through the different forms, and out of it. I was actually advising the senior leadership on that side from a couple different angles because I knew he was going through layoffs. Not expecting it to be me, but that's fine. So I figured I had a regular meeting. And then HR shows up and I go, oh, we're going to have one of those type of meetings. I didn't take it negative. I took it as a surprise, but it's like you just go ahead and move forward with it, right? And after the 15 minutes, the HR person and I, we talked like we were best friends because we found out we actually came from the same company and some of the different dynamics happened. It's like, okay, here, there, here. And literally the senior leaders had to cut us off. She's like, I need to get to the next meeting, right? For the next discussion. And at the end of it, I said, thank you to both of them.
All right.
They were in shock. They go, do what? No one's ever thanked us. It's like, no, totally thank you. You totally eliminate a entire conflict I have in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I just clear my schedule because I have my own ITAM summit, which we'll get that. We'll talk about that later. But I have my own ITAM summit in 2 weeks. You just clear my entire schedule. I don't have a conflict anymore. Thank you. And they were in shock. It's like, and the HR person, you already had a backup plan? It's like, I always had a backup plan. And that wasn't to be negative even with the role I had, but this is what I do for the industry versus what I was doing for that organization, right? And I had already, trust me, the grease was skid. Everyone's aware I was going out.
Things work can happen in a different way.
They do.
You think are impossible, but they happen. And it's your belief system. I mean, for me, it's my belief system. I know who's doing that in my life behind what I believe, and I can validate that because it happens over and over and over again. And so that is why do we say?
And there's different ways you can right, and there's different ways you can interpret it too. You can take it from a religious standpoint. On that part, I mean, I believe in God. I won't say I don't. I'll just go.
Let's take it from a corporate standpoint.
You can say it's a godly movement, right? You can say, okay, it's personal. I want to take it personal. How do you work within your own environment? There's lots of different ways you can look at it, right? But being able to say it's okay. This allows me the opportunity to grow that next step. And one of the reasons why I brought up this topic for today is. You hear about all the layoffs, and we have hundreds, if not thousands of us in our own industry that are struggling from just exactly this, right? And I'm finding the following we have is actually a lot of people that's out of work, which is great. Appreciate you being here. That's awesome. I hate that you're out of work, absolutely, but I'm glad you're around a community that actually wants to support you and go that next step. But I say that because when we help each other that next step, it's critical. That helps because I want you to be a successful person, right? Calling it out. There you go. I have no idea. But being able to say, okay, how do we further drive, right? How do we work through this? I say from discouragement on one side, but it's more about being able to say how we can drive ourselves, right? That's extremely important. And trust me, when all this happened, I had a whole slew of other things happen in the last 3 years. I mean, since the pandemic's nothing in comparison to other stuff I've dealt with.
Yep.
And from that, have I grown? Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And has my life changed 180 degrees in a direction I never saw coming, and it wasn't negative.
Absolutely.
Because I'll use my own story, right? In the last 5 years, here's what's happened. It's going on 6. Oh my God, we're at 6 years now. Okay, so since the pandemic, I'll put it that way, right? My mother was dying from cancer. The pandemic happened. Everything's locked down. I had to help her and my brother, and I had to relocate myself entirely from where I was in the Southeast to the Midwest for a month, if not a couple months, to help her, right? finished up a 30-year marriage with a full divorce I never saw coming, right? Decided to relocate myself out of Atlanta, actually to Northeast Tennessee, which I'm told awesome. If you've never been here, absolute dream, whole different story there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I relocated myself, not realizing the impact I was going to make on me because I love the area. But I also knew I was just pushing forward with all that, right? And saying, how can I grow? And you know what? By pushing forward, it's the best thing I ever did.
Right.
You don't call it a testimonial or anything. I'm not trying to do that part, but it's just, I can speak personally. My ability to grow is thriving beyond belief, including my ability. I now, when I'm not in Northeastern Tennessee, you'll probably find me on the road here in the U.S. because I'm also traveling the entire country in an RV, which I'm going out and doing practitioner. So anywhere in the country, ping me. I plan on stopping and meeting as many people as possible because that's the other part about it. I get to come out and visit.
Yeah.
I mean, I traveled at 30,000 feet for 30 years. Now I get to see an RV level. Whole different experience, and I love meeting people. But that's some of the strife. Discouragement, could I have been, with that whole scenario, I'm totally off topic a little bit of what we're talking about here, but discouragement is a whole different level. Absolutely. And I'm not trying to trump anybody, right? By any means whatsoever, cancer or anything like that. I'm not trying to trump anybody.
No.
I'm just saying being able to look at see how you overcome that helps you grow. And that's all we're trying to say here. And that was the whole purpose behind us to go that part. So yes, Dan, I think you were going to pipe up.
Yeah.
Or somebody was going to say something.
I was going to support you on that. This year, I've had multiple things, including my brother passing away, including what we talked about health-wise a little bit, but you get seasons like that. 2015, whenever HP split, in that year alone, I had several things going on, including all of our parents passed away and went forward. So those things are there, but they're there for a reason. And as it becomes, learn from that and grow. It's all about growth. If you're not growing through this experience, then you're not doing what you need to do. I'll put it that way. That I'm just telling you, you need to step back and say, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong here? And get back to the things that help you get back in that positive mindset that you need to move forward. In the corporate world, that's called customer bond. That's the end game. That's in the corporate world. So if I wanted to redirect guys in the corporate world at CEO level or C level, I go to that and then back that thing up so they can see how what's happening now it needs to be level set and be focused. Because what do we say? Accountability is always in line with relationship.
One of the things I've done in between engagements, let's put it that way. 1 year I did a lot of artwork. Another year I wrote a screenplay. This time I wrote a book. And the downtime, I use my other skills. I still keep my skills up within my field, but I let my other loves of what come through. So in my downtime, I actually am more creative because I don't have the time to do all the creative work when I have a real job. I took that in air quotes.
That works.
Yeah.
Again, how do we?
Yeah.
It's all about how we grow, right? Rob, you've had your own trials and tribulations recently too.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm kind of new to this. I haven't been unemployed for any stretch of time more than maybe 2 to 3 weeks max, and that's my whole life. So I'm definitely learning to do that. But then I also borrow from the philosophy, of my alma mater, which would be, as a U.S. Marine, adapt, improvise, overcome.
Exactly.
You see if there's needs that need to be filled, and then you find ways to fill those needs. One of those other delightful things that has come out of this experience is whenever I encounter anything that seems to be problematic, right? Part of what I do is I open myself up to the idea of, well, let's study the thing. Let's see what is this like for anybody that's out there dealing with it and what they need to do in order to pay their bills, put food on the table, take care of family, loved ones, etc. And so I'm learning about the existing resource and structure that are available to folks now, and how one can utilize or leverage that to its most effective, to greatest effect.
Right.
And so I'm doing an awful lot of that, and doing work like this, for instance, and getting the message out there helps, because I can feel like I'm at least doing something that has a positive impact on others. Another thing is, because of the way that groups were being let go from where I've come from, it seemed an almost automatic to want to connect with those folks and continue some form of a beneficial relationship. To know that these are all the folks. These are the, we got let go in groups. So now how can I reach out and how can I help, for instance, the many of those other people that were in the boat with me when the ship sunk, to say, what do we do? How do we go forward? So a couple of practical things come to mind. One, share resumes and get the word out that these people that you had a bond with, a professional or a personal bond over the last few years, are now available and they can move forward like we're discussing here. Going into their profiles and offering everything from letters of recommendations to specific recommendations and skill sets, so that you can add to their profile, if you will. It'll also kind of help them to gain that next employment position along the way. Right. And I highly recommend, in learning around your local communities, resources, any job fairs or working events that there may be. And then in previous discussions, I think I said also consider leveraging your expertise towards nonprofits in the area. And then there is a value exchange. You may not be paid for the work, but if you do it, you stay sharp in your skill sets, and somebody someplace is benefiting from your involvement. So I'll leave it right there at that.
Look, you're absolutely right. And maybe as simple as we're busybodies. That's what we do. Each one of us, that's what we always do, right? We're busybodies. It might be as simple as going to volunteer somewhere. Everyone needs help, right? Mm-hmm. Serve others. Because what I realize is, and I've been a servant leader for years on several different fronts, whether it's Scouts, Kiwanis, you name it, I've volunteered for it, right? Is maybe you go to the local food kitchen, right? Maybe you help at the church. Maybe you help at, you become part of Kiwanis or something like that, where you're actually helping serve youth and help them become better leaders. Maybe you're already part of Scouts because of your kids, and now you have time to actually go be with them. Absolutely put that in place. It's a nonstop day here. But being able to say, how can you help serve others? Because here's what happens. And I didn't realize it. I just natively do it, right? Is when you do something like that and you're helping that person, it say it's youth, and all of a sudden youth, and you put it in a smile comes on their face because you're helping them. Think about how that serves you.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, I have.
And think about how much more your own spirit gets lifted because of it. You can say you're being selfish. You should be a little selfish as far as that. But it's not you're expecting it. It's something that happens. I can speak truly on that part. And maybe it's something just like that. Deanna, you were saying something? I wasn't trying to talk over you.
Oh, no, that's why when I did retire, God said, go help the church. So I mean, I worked 330 masses last year.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's a lot of people. Right, and we have a congregation.
Being old boy for way too many years, that's a lot of people. Yeah.
We have over almost 8,000 families.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and everybody's saying, oh, you're doing such great work. You're going to go to heaven and go to here, but how do I get there? I need the money to get to heaven at this point in time.
Well, Deanna, we realize that it's an investment towards the the end game,
Oh, absolutely.
and the eternal goal, and the eternal goal and hope.
Yep. And
It's an investment.
yep,
You're
people thank
investing
you all
when
the
you do
time.
that.
Okay.
Best of yourself.
Yep.
Bill, I just got it. I had a friend that I met about it'd been 4 years ago,
Mhm.
this past year that just went away. And he had ALS. I met him when I was working in one of the jobs at selling suits. I said an encouraging word to him. It struck a conversation. We became friends, and then I followed him, and he had. They thought he was going to die in the year that I met him, but they realized it was a reaction to some new medication. Well, he came off of all his medications. This is you don't do that. Why did he come off? Because he decided I'm going to live by my belief system and what I believe, and I know who that is, and I'm going to do that. And until this past year, he did. But I talked to him about a month and a half before he went on, passed away, moved, transitioned out to his end game. And he said to me, Don, at first I was upset. At first, I went through all those things. As I've done, it is a blessing. It was a blessing to me because I was able to be used to help others who are experiencing the same things that I'm experiencing, and to see, and to level set with doctors. His doctor said, you know, this doesn't happen. Well, it doesn't happen because he had a resilience. The resilience came from a sustainment, and sustainment comes from his belief system and where he was trusting and moving forward on a day-to-day basis. And it just brought me to my humbleness beyond all things. And because he said, and you were the instigator of that journey and that impact of that one meeting. And so destiny and impact and things come together for a reason, guys. And I'm not, and in corporate world, it's the same way. So you got to learn to react from a corporate standpoint to continue to focus on the end game. And in job loss, you're the corporation moving forward to the end game. Look at it that way.
Absolutely. So as you were talking, Don, you made me think about, right? So we talk about some of the initial outcomes, and some of it could be finding that next job, right?
Right. How can I help?
Direct feedback. You've got a lot of direct feedback. Maybe you're helping serve others, etc.
Yeah.
But there's also the unrealized outcomes. That's what I want to kind of wrap up because we're on the last 10 minutes here. It's hard to believe. I mean, how quickly we go through this topics like this. But also, what are some of the unrealized outcomes that come out of it? Because I think you just hit a couple of those right there, Don. What are a couple of words that immediately come to mind as far as unrealized outcomes that could be just said in one word?
I would say relax.
Yeah. You.
What's that, Deanna?
Relax. You may be able to
Relax,
relax between the two jobs.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's new awareness and new learnings. For example, I just learned about and got an invite. It's specifically from a C-level connection group that exists with the unemployed plus the employed C-level managers.
That's great.
And that connection is pretty strong because now I'm being invited to come and to participate in that level. and you go to some of those, you go to those meetings and establish those connections and
No, I think
and
awareness is key.
and
I mean, I
awareness.
didn't realize
You
where I'd
don't,
be right now if I could be
yeah,
aware. Yeah.
yeah, and apparently it's nationwide. So Bill, there's probably a group like that in your area, and Rob in yours, and in these big areas.
No, that's great.
I'd be
So,
interested in learning about that.
and I just learned about that. How did I
That's
learn
great.
about talking?
Rob, any thoughts?
Connection.
Yeah, I think that, and we touched on this a bit before too, some of the unrealized outcomes may be like how you value yourself and bringing some clarity to your situation. And in really kind of, how would you say, it isn't so much a prioritization as it is sort of establishing, let's say, a system of value over a variety of things that we deal with, like what's most important, especially if you get some terminal diagnosis. Oh, I don't care about anything. I want to live out the rest of my days to the greatest benefit to myself and to others around me. So that becomes way more important than, let's say, finding a job, putting one's affairs in order, etc. So some idea around your value systems and structuring those values and the things in life. So I believe that would be one of those unrealized outcomes.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Word for it.
No, that works. So there's another word that comes to mind too. And Don, you kind of hit on this a little bit ago. Humility.
Yes, it's absolutely humility, Bill. And we struggle with that as humans on a daily basis.
I'm not talking about humor. I'm talking about humility. Totally different.
And I am too.
Sometimes as technologists, okay, how can we add some more humor to this? No, I'm not talking about that. This is about lessons learned. How can we appreciate where we've been, where we're going, right? And put that in place. So the awareness and appreciation, you have that put in place. You also have to, from an energy perspective, keep in mind, we are the power plant. We generate the energy to others. Even like what I'm doing right now. This is a power plant, right? I have to generate to make sure we keep the conversation going, et cetera. Is how are you helping? We've talked about clarity as well. When you start getting clarity, you have humility, you have that understanding, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, you get energized. I don't know how else to say it, right? Because all of a sudden you realize it's like, I have this. I've got this. I can manage this, right? So your increased energy goes, I wouldn't say through the roof. Everyone has different levels. Maybe you're going to work out more, et cetera. You can do that type of energy as well. But you understand, okay, who you are and where you sit. And that's huge, right? Because think about all the times, it's easy to do. We talked about this a little yesterday. All the times to say, if I wasn't so busy, I would do X, Y, and Z. I'll tell you what, if now's a good time. If you're not busy, you don't have a job, it's a good time to think about X, Y, and Z, right? Yeah. And put that in place and being able to put that, just take action. And that's the most important. Taking action will actually help drive you those next steps.
Yes.
You cannot stand and wallow in your muck. I'll just call it that way. You have to continue moving forward. And that's all we're trying to do. That's all we're trying to say in general here as we're wrapping up the last few minutes. I think I'm at the top of the hour. I'm trying to pay attention.
Sometimes those people around you or things around you will look at humility as being a weakness. It's not a weakness. It's a strength. And so you play on that strength. If you're an achiever, hey, I can be a humble achiever and get a lot more done than I can by trying to be a controlling achiever.
Yeah.
Okay. Control is a good thing too. Sometimes you need to exercise your own self-control. But that's really getting back to how do I stay humble. I have to go back to the source that gives my strength.
No, that's a great point. Now, as we wrap up, there is one word I think is missing right here. Probably more than one, but I'll just say one that comes to mind for me. Advancement.
Yes. Moving forward.
We do all of this. You're advancing.
Yeah, it's true.
And with that advancement, that's all you can ask for in life.
Yep.
Right.
You may change. I don't want you to change careers. I'd love for you to stay here. If you have to change, you have to do it. It's up to you. But advancement is really what we're looking for of anything, that continual movement as you put in place. So,
Right.
uh,
And Bill, advancement cannot be done on your own. It's a relational aspect. You can't advance without relationship in play.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so as we're getting our final, probably 2 minutes here, let's do a round robin real quick, and let's talk about some of the learnings that we've individually had just from this session alone, just with the four of us talking. Deanna, you want to kick it off?
Sure. Don't look at losing a job as failure. And that's one of the big things we're saying here. It's a transition. You probably, by the time, if you're getting fired, you probably didn't like it anyway. You probably, everything wasn't going well for you or for somebody. Acknowledge the fact that, hey, what am I going to do next? But I don't want to spend my whole time just looking for a job. That's why I do some writing. I work at the church. I found other creative outlets that I wouldn't do if I had just been working. So don't just look for a new career. Work on yourself through others.
That's great. Let's go counterclockwise. Rob, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I guess one of the things is, use this opportunity in this moment. It's definitely going to be a transition. And when you do, right, explore other opportunities, even sit down and think that you might need to reinvent yourself. So this might mean a completely different line of work as you come out of this. Or for that matter, you may decide that you want to pursue, let's say, a handful of things, with not the same intensity as you did with one professional role. And you may find that in the event of further transitions, the most powerful tool that you had was the network of people and the relationships that you formed along the way. I'm finding that this seems to be one of the most successful factors when it comes to people seeking new roles and employment in the workplace today, or forming their own and pushing forward, with their own business. So that's another thing to consider there. Right. And I'll pass it over to Don.
We all have our wake up moments, like we talked about before. It to me, we used to say slang. There's certain things. Somebody hit me upside the head with a 2x4. Looking at it from a shepherd's responsibility over the sheep, it's like a rod poking that sheep, and when it hits, the sheep knows, hey, I'm walking in an area in danger, and I need to get back to where I'm protected. Those things are there, like I said, to wake you up, to get your focus back. What am I doing? Pay attention to that and react positively, like we talked about before, and surrender and realize I've done this. Gosh, seek the forgiveness over that, even if it's internally within yourself, if that's what you need to do over a corporate aspect, and bring that unity back into the play. The unity in the corporation is people. The unity is back to where your belief system is, and moving forward positively in those relationship aspects of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, Don. That was great. Because when it's all said and done, again, this is an opportunity to grow. That's the summary of everything we've talked about here. We've looked at a lot. We've talked about a lot. There's a lot of parts, okay. We talk about why we release, some lessons learned along the way, some of the reviewings and how we looked at that. And we also looked at some of the outcomes from all of our efforts, right? And it's important as we look at this and think about this, is when we start becoming discouraged, we need to understand, okay, why are we getting discouraged? Because actually this is part of life. This is actually part of our advancement. This is part of our ability to say, we're going to go meet new people. We're going to do new things. We're going to figure out something new. I mean, for example, Deanna, Rob, Don, and I, did we realize we're going to be doing this at this moment in time and talk about this? I mean, some of us are old friends, some of us are new friends, right? No, we didn't. But are we having a blast? We're having a blast.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's enough to get energized and say, you know what? This is how we're going to make a difference.
Yeah.
Not saying we're not still looking for other things and work through some of the other challenges we have, which got us to this state, but it'd be able how we advance. So with that, a few minutes over, apologize about that, but I want to make sure we at least talked about this. I think is extremely critical. At this juncture in anything we do, in the juncture of the world, whether you're part of ITAM, SAM, and configuration management or something else, we're all working through this on that part. So feel free to share this with friends, etc. Absolutely. It's out there. And then tomorrow's session, we're going to continue on with the job description. We'll follow up for what we talked about yesterday with the senior consultant. We're actually going to use this whiteboard. We're going to go through and dissect it and further edit it. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do that real time. We're going to have some fun like that. And I promise we're going to work on audio as well. And then on Friday, and we might even have more folks than this online on Friday because Friday's going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk about our careers, how we became to where we are today.
Oh, good.
Hit that a little bit this week, but not to the intents we're about to go into, because we're going to actually talk about our journeys, our individual journeys, which will totally blow us out, blow everything, and have a blast with. But the whole idea is I want those that are just getting started or those that are in different parts of their career to realize here's some different paths you can take as an example. So there you go. Thanks again for everything. Appreciate it. And you guys have yourself a great rest of the day. And I'll see you at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Get the time right.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Thanks,
Goodbye,
guys.
guys.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, very good.